You know what? I'm proud of myself. Like, I'm proud to be me, Ellmarie, who has one arm. Like, my story is different, but I'm proud of it. And I'm basically now just taking ownership of it.
Welcome to Chasing Rabbits, the space where we sit down with women who refuse to play small, who rewrite the rules, and who show us what's possible when we listen to that inner voice that says, there's more. I am your host, Alicia. I am a runner, a yoga teacher, a mountain lover, a coach, a retreat host, and a general jack of all trades. But here, my goal is to get you inspired by other women and to make you realize and see the power you have to inspire other people around you. And you will be no doubt inspired by my today's guest, Ellmarie O'Brien, who is a ray of sunshine. I met her last year at a mountain leader training course and wanted to ask her all the questions back then, but it wasn't the place or time to do so. And Ellie lost her arm in a lawnmower accident when she was only a child. And for many people, that would have been the end of everything, the end of life, and they probably wouldn't do many things. But not for Ellie. Ellie continued to live her life, and not only live her life, but Ellie hikes, mountain bikes, plays tennis, she goes for adventures, she works with Mountaineering Ireland now. She has a degree in bioscience. She's just an incredible woman. And a few years ago, she watched a video about a trail that I will probably pronounce wrong, Araroa in New Zealand. And she worked her ass off to save money. And then she flew to the other side of the world to hike it on her own. So we want to hear all the stories now. Welcome to the show, Ellie. We are so happy to have you.
Yay, what an intro! It's fun hearing back what you've done and like your own little
Yeah,
journey.
Ellie, so let's start. Let's start with the beginning. So tell me, how did it all start? How did your adventurous life start? How did you get injected with this, outdoors virus? Where and how did it start?
Yeah, so I guess to set the scene, I'm the youngest of four in our family. I have two brothers and one sister. So I think that is probably a big influence just on me growing up as well, because I always wanted to be involved with them, like whatever they were doing. And one of my brothers, particularly, is like quite into the outdoors as well. And so, yeah, naturally, I just wanted to spend time doing what he was doing. And then as a family, we were the kind that would go away on camping holidays. So I remember like going down to Clonakilty was a kind of traditional holiday that we would have nearly most years, where we'd pack a big tent and we'd all camp in a campsite. And it just felt great. Like, I just even remember at that time being like, this is so nice. Like, even just hearing the rain on a tent and being like, that's a lovely sound. I like this. And then even at home, like having just like raw dog barbecues outside, like cooking sausages on just a bare, charcoals and grill. And it just like made me feel good. And so like that is like a core memory. And then like as I grow older, I still want to feel good and I just want to do the things that made me happy. And yeah, and so then it's just like that was definitely part of what drew me. And I guess I knew I wanted to do the Te Araroa Trail because I was like, that's just a lot of camping and a lot of outdoor time, like tick, tick, And it's kind of as simple as that. Yeah. And then I guess like And then mountain biking is somewhere in between there as well. Like, that was just something I seemed to come across when I was in secondary school. Because my brother wasn't really doing a lot of that. He had a bike, all right. But I just remember like watching YouTube videos of that, like somehow just stumbling across it and then watching rampage videos, which is like a really extreme side of mountain biking. But I just thought it was so cool. That was all. Like it was just cool in my head. And I was like, also want to do that at some point. And maybe not exactly that, but like, my own little piece of that. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of like, the cauldron of different ingredients all feeding in and then I just drinking that.
And I suppose having the influence of your family and making it kind of a normal thing, you're kind of, you can't imagine then life without it because it's just so ingrained in you, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I should probably mention as well, like my mom is a mountain leader and course provider, and she's been part of Mountain Rescue for over 20 years now. So I guess, like I also have that parental influence of just like someone who holds a really core position in some of the outdoor
Mm.
scene as well. But saying that, I would also like to make the point that when I was younger and I was in primary school, I really wasn't interested in hill walking, hiking kind of sort of thing. At that, yeah, at the age of like 10, 11, 12, like before secondary school, I for sure thought that was boring. And so, like, it wasn't all just like, oh, I love it all. But then when I went to college, that kind of changed a bit. And I started doing those walks with my own friends and then realizing, like, oh, I can do the same thing, but actually have a completely
Mm.
different experience. And that mindset is actually like, yeah, it's good to keep that
Yeah,
perspective about a
yeah.
lot of
It's not
things,
just
actually.
boring thing that my parents do
No.
and I have to do it with them. It's yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
tell me,
yeah.
I obviously stalked you before we come to the podcast.
Yeah, you've done a really good job.
And there is
I'm
one
actually
photo
impressed.
on Instagram of you as a little girl sitting down on a wall having ice cream with two other kids,
Oh,
which I
yeah.
suppose are your siblings. And
One
yeah,
cousin,
and
one and my brother.
the thing is, you look like such a happy child. It's just that smile of, I'm just here having an ice cream and I just don't give a damn. And tell me, as a child, because obviously, and you can start with the accident and telling us how that happened, but I would like to know, as a child, did you feel that you're different? Did you have that, or did you just feel like I'm a kid? I'm a kid like everyone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. And I definitely was like a very happy kid. That photo does represent me. But yeah, so like I guess you're different when you carry in a bag of arms to school. Like I had a prosthetic and it was mainly just for fun, but I would just carry it in like in a bag and then put it on in class. So it's like, of course I'm different, like no one else is doing that. But at that point, like you don't really associate all the other layers of difference that you do as you get older. Like it's completely different from how I felt when I was in secondary school then, knowing that
Mhm.
I was different. But yeah, when I was younger, like I have a few memories. So one of them would have been that like bringing the arm into school and just having so much fun and like everyone giving me loads of attention and just like, ah, this is great. And then I also remember like just going home to mom one time, like before bed, and just kind of whispering out, like, I feel different, and like somehow feeling sad about it then. And I actually think I said, like, oh, I miss my arm. And she was like, why do you miss your arm? And I was like, I don't know. I just was like, yeah, it was, starting to maybe get a little bit complicated. Like, oh, and another big part, I guess, of growing up with a limb difference is like, yeah, you notice your difference a lot more when you're around new kids, or like, so within my school environment, it just becomes very normal very quickly because we spend all the time together. But then if I'm out and about, like walking down the street, a big thing was other kids just like stopping and looking, and you just get that full attention. And yeah, and that does make you feel odd. Like, if that
Yeah.
happened to anyone, you'd be like, do I have something on my face? Like, do I? And you'd be kind of like all of a sudden very conscious of yourself. Yeah, and so like my mom would obviously notice this happening as well, and she'd be like, just give them a little wiggle. And I just kind of like shake my little arm like that, like kind of like, go away. And so that was something. It's funny because you're unlocking like so many different memories, like with these questions. Yeah, so that was like the kind of array of feelings when I was at that age. And then like when you go into secondary school, it starts to get a bit cloudier and a little bit denser, and like that's at a point where you want to really be like everyone else, because you just like, I changed school as well, and a lot of people in my primary school, we went to different schools, so I felt like I was really submerged within a new environment, and like felt so hyper conscious of having a limb difference then. But I think like I had a core confidence in myself too. And like I think sometimes people are curious, like having a difference doesn't necessarily mean like you're gonna get bullied. Like I was never bullied in school. And yeah, it was
Mhm.
like not a thing for me. But like, yeah, it was still difficult, like just being so, yeah, conscious of yourself was. And so, yeah, another big part of growing up as well was that I never showed my arm after a certain age. Definitely in secondary school was like covering it up a lot. And because I remember for PE class, we would pick our own set of clothes, everything else we wear a uniform for, but you had your own clothes. And like that seemed exciting at the time. But I just remember like searching through shops, just, I'd have only one thing on my mind to be like, it needs to be long
Mhm.
enough to cover my arm. And yeah, that really like weighs you down after
Yeah.
a while because it's part of your whole self-expression to be able to just like live freely in your own body. And so that was like a very suppressed area of myself for a while.
And it is a very difficult time in every person's life, the teenage years where everything is happening and there's so much change happening, and you do become a little bit more aware of yourself, and especially as a girl. I'm not saying men don't, but I think especially as a girl, you are so aware of your looks, and and it is so
Yeah.
important, and it is an added, I'm not going to call it a problem, but just an aspect that,
Yeah,
yeah, that you,
pressure.
you you
Yeah.
are aware of. And I suppose what helped you, like, this is just me reading into it, but I think you did have quite a strong feeling of yourself. So, this is who I am. And
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Because it was built on that feeling that I was like, ultimately, after a certain point, I just decided, you know what? I'm proud of myself. Like, I'm proud to be me, Ellmarie, who has one arm. Like, my story is different, but I'm proud of it. And I'm basically now just taking ownership of it. And yeah, and then there's like major empowerment feeling from that for yourself of just like, oh, all of a sudden I can feel so different in a way, and I can show up differently, and it just started wearing tops with no sleeves and was like, I can do it. And it actually feels really nice now. Like, because I used to get so hot, like I would be dying under my jumpers and just like, no, I just need to just wear it for another hour. Yeah, and then it's like, it's as simple as like being like, oh, now I'm too hot. I can take off my jumper and like feel better. So yeah, there was many benefits to overcoming some of these self
Did
limitations.
having the prostate, did that help? Were there moments when you felt more confident because you had it on, or is that just literally a practical tool to get you to do things that you want to do that you wouldn't be able to do without it?
Yeah, the prosthetics growing up, like when I was younger, to be honest, they were kind of useless and they were purely cosmetic. So you would just wear them to basically look like you have two arms. And it didn't help me at all. In fact, it probably, in terms of ability, made things harder because I use my little arm to do things as it is, like whether it's to just like put things underneath it or I don't know, somehow just like using it. But when you're wearing an artificial limb and it's just this literally dead weight hanging off of you, it was like just getting in the way. And like I couldn't hold things like I would without it because, like, the arm is all the way down here, whereas I would put stuff and catch it like between these 2 points. But in terms of, yeah, then confidence, I don't think it gave me much confidence to wear it. I think at times it maybe gave me confidence because kind of felt like unique and cool when I brought it into primary school because everyone would give like so much attention to it and think like, wow, what's this? And we would play pranks, so it's just like, it was really fun.
And you're a superwoman, you're a superwoman. You have this ability to have an arm and not have an arm if you want to.
Yeah, like there's a kind of quote and it's like you laugh at me because I'm different and I laugh at you because you're all the same. It's like you things always change just depending on your
Absolutely,
perspective and
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
So let's jump to New Zealand. Let's take a quick flight to New Zealand. And I read that you
Yeah.
watched a video on YouTube about the trail, the Aurora,
Te
Araroa,
Araroa. Yeah, I don't even think I say it fully correctly, so there's no judgment.
which is 3,000 kilometers through New Zealand's wilderness. And it also contains, is it 150K of canoeing?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, dead
so
right.
you've worked your ass off in a lab to save money to go to New Zealand and do it. Tell us about that. That was 4 months and you did it on your own. You just set off to do this
Yeah.
amazing adventure, and I absolutely, I love it. I just think you are so fucking brave to, because it is like, and that's just in general, it is so brave to decide to be on your own for 4 months. And it's one thing, the physical aspect of being in the wild on your own and having to, manage all the logistics and everything. And then there's the mental part of it where you're on your own for a long time. And there are
Yeah. I will say
yeah.
I will say first and foremost, I didn't spend very much time on my own in the end. Actually, like it's funny. This is probably the biggest misconception about walking some of these long distance trails is you do think that you're going out and it's going to be super isolating experience. I would say like is completely the opposite of that. It's like the biggest community experience I've ever had. Because it's like, it's really heartwarming because you go to somewhere you've never been before, and then you just form like really deep bonds with people very quickly, I would say, because you're just spending so much time with them in the outdoors, and like naturally things just draw themselves out. And then you're all heading in the one direction, like you all have the same objective. So you just move along like a little circus family the whole way down. Like, not exactly, but it's actually a very social experience, I would say. But to kind of jump back to, yeah, the ground zero, and just like from inception to actually getting over there, because yeah, that's a little journey in itself. Like, I think it was probably around maybe during COVID or something when I saw that video on YouTube. Again, YouTube really inspiring me with a lot of good videos. But yeah, so I watched this video series just walking long distance trails, and I was like, wow, yes, like this is so good. And I guess right there and then, I kind of made a commitment to myself of like, I'd really love to do that. Let's get intentional. Like, I'm gonna start changing my language. Like, I'm gonna do that. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna do that. Like just melted then for a couple of months, and then was like, okay, yeah. But there was quite a period between like getting intentional and still like actually booking flights and packing, because like I was in a relationship at the time, and I was like, oh geez, I don't know how like those two things go together, like going on a long distance trail, and then yeah, just like getting all the money to buy to buy gear and fund that period, because you might think, living and camping, like it'll be so cheap. Well, not that cheap. Like, you still have to pay for your food, and more than I realized, we had to pay for like where we were sleeping, like campgrounds and yeah, holiday parks and stuff. So it adds up. So it took a while to kind of like have the space work out for me to be like, okay, now it's time to pull the trigger and go. So yeah, I've been working about nearly 2 years, I suppose, all in all, and then went to New Zealand in end of October, start of November 2023. And because my birthday is in November as well, so I was like, oh, it'll be my birthday present, like I'll be on trail. And yeah, that kind of, it just felt like, okay, I was really trying to be patient about the whole thing, and then it's like, now it's time to shine and just go and do it. Yeah, it was fun.
Was there, pardon, was there a lot of voices that said, you shouldn't do it, or maybe think about it, or maybe do something shorter, or maybe something closer to home?
Yeah, that's a good point, because actually, like, I guess it wasn't just like, I do the odd weekend day hike, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna go and do this. I kind of, in my mind, I had it like primary school, secondary school, university. My primary school experience was like doing a 2 week hut to hut hiking in the Alps. And here's why this was like, stage one in the process, because for that, I wasn't carrying my own food. Like, we were staying in huts. I didn't have to carry sleeping stuff. And I did it with my parents, my auntie and uncle. So yeah, that was like really friendly, very almost easy, like the route itself was really challenging, but yeah, that was like the first place to start. And also just proof of concept. Do I like walking multiple days in a row? And the answer was an astounding yes. So then I came back from that, and I don't know, maybe a year later or something, I walked across Madeira with my mom. And so this was like another little step up because we were camping and we had to carry our own food, but like we were still mainly getting food from towns and stuff. Yeah, and then after that, I was like, okay, yeah, I think I've sussed it out enough, like I've done enough to do all the elements of what I'm gonna do. So let's go. Yeah, and then how I felt about it, yeah, it's funny, like there was times when I knew I was going and I had flights booked, I was like, am I gonna die doing this? But of course not. But you just like, how big of a thing is this thing that I'm doing? And always feeling, I guess, somewhat
Oh,
underprepared. Yeah. Yeah, and I remember just as I was like buying all my gear and stuff, like I was watching loads of YouTube videos about gear and I was just trying to consume loads of stuff about the trail and I was like, why is there no video of someone just like spiraling, freaking out about going doing this thing? Everyone's just telling me how lovely it is after they had the experience. I was like, no one's talking about this stage. So for sure, yeah, I was just like, oh, I don't know, but I know I want to go. So, and that's what brought me to my mantra of basically just have the courage to try, that like you won't actually know until you just go and do it. So have an experience and that's the thing, like my mom would have also said to me is just like, just go and like if you don't like it after a week or whatever, you can just come home. Like that's fine. That's always an option.
and
So
that
yeah,
nervousness
that's
before,
that was
it's
kind
just the
of
excitement. It's just the excitement of going and doing
yeah.
something that's completely, it's just crazy and something that you've never done before. And I suppose, I think as women, we always kind of, I think in comparison to men, we always feel underprepared, where men are just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it because I can, and we're always like, but do I have enough? Like, is my backpack big enough? Or do I have this? Like, we just want to know a little bit more before we do it. And did you
Yeah.
do, so you say you
Yeah.
watched a lot of videos and stuff. So you definitely checked the route before you went. Was there a part of the trail that you knew it's going to be hard and that you were a little bit nervous about?
Well, it's funny, because when I actually got over there, I was like, oh, I feel like I may have focused way too much of my preparation on just the gear and was like, do I even know this route? Like, I just had watched loads of, nice videos of snippets of people looking like they're having a great time, but I was like, I actually don't know this thing very well. So in some ways, maybe I was like a little bit underprepared. I don't know. But I had read like there's a girl's book about walking the trail as well, and I'd read that, and so a big part about it was the Richmond Ranges, which is in the South Island. It's kind of like, yeah, near the top of the South Island, and it's a string of mountains, and it's probably, I think it's the longest like wild section of the trail where you're carrying the most food and it's kind of the most remote probably. And that kind of gets hyped up as like, people die here and this is really intense and yeah, so I was like, oh geez, I wonder what that's like. But I actually didn't have so much fear about it because for me, definitely the biggest challenge of the whole thing was the canoeing. And so I was like, walking is fine. I can do that. I'm pretty sure it'll be okay. But canoe, not so much experience.
How did you manage that? Because you only like canoed or kayaked when you were a kid, wasn't it? And then it was like
Yeah.
full blown 150. kilometers kayak with all the stuff that you had with you. Like, how the heck? How long did it take you? And how did you manage? Especially, without one arm, like without one arm. How
Yeah.
did that go?
Yeah. So this is kind of hard to show, but this is the paddle that I used. And like, yeah, when I was buying all my gear in preparation, this was like a real question mark around how am I gonna sort out some kind of adaptation or adapted equipment for this section, because I was really keen. I was like, if everyone else is going and doing this canoeing, like I've got to do it too. Like there's just no question. So yeah, but at the same time, I really procrastinated about like figuring it out, just because it felt like a gray area, and like prosthetics themselves just take ages as well, from like inception to actually getting the thing and using it. Like there's a lot of appointments and then readjustments, and they're expensive. And I was like, oh geez, I don't even know if I have enough time to get that all organized before I go away, and then would be like paralyzed by that and still not do anything. But then in the end, I messaged a product designer, and I was like, do you think you'd be able to like whip me up a prosthetic there for canoeing? And then he sent me the link to this one. He's like, there's a paddle that you could probably use one-handed. And I was like, perfect. Let me get that. And it was like, I can be really easily assured in some ways, because I went onto the website and I saw someone with one hand using the paddle, and I was like, great, I'm going to be paddling the Wanganui. Like, this person can use this paddle, then so can I. And so I ordered that, but like it was coming from America, so it took a while to get here. And it literally only arrived the week before I left for New Zealand. So I got it, and my friend had a double kayak, and we went out on a lake and we just put it on, paddled around for like an hour until it got dark, and then I was like, okay, well, I've used it now, like perfect. Yeah. And I went to New Zealand with it, and because like that canoeing isn't happening until around like, oh, almost a quarter of the way into the length of the trail. So I got to New Zealand, I shipped my paddle to the canoe company, and then kind of just forgot about it and went up to the top of the country and just started walking down. But I had a lot of doubt. Like, yeah, I had so much fear in the end of like, who is gonna do this with me? Because this is not an individual sport. Like, I'm gonna need someone else. And I was really worried basically that like no one would want to do it with me, because like it's probably gonna be harder for them. And also I just didn't have a lot of confidence in my ability, because I really didn't use it a whole while. So I didn't know. But yeah, that ended up working itself out really nicely. And in the end, like someone asked me, like, will you do it with me? And I was like, you what? Yeah, sure, yeah. No problem. But yeah. And so then like once we got on the water and actually got going. So it was 5 days, and the first couple of days were genuinely stressful, because like we got a really brief induction from the canoe center. There's a bit of yo-yoing, like you go to the center, you pack all your barrels and your gear and stuff. Oh no, you pack your barrels with food, and then you like jump back to another section of trail and then walk to the river, and your stuff is all ready for you to just start then. But yeah, so we had got a brief induction on like safety and what to expect. And it was only then that they were like, so on the rapids, you just need to make sure that you stay straight. And I was like, there's rapids. Oh, I didn't know that. And so Yeah, it was like, but again, my attitude was just like, but everyone else is doing this, so it must be fine. And and so I'd just get on the river and go. But yeah, step one was trying to figure out how to go in a straight line. And we probably burnt ourselves out, like me and Ryan paddling, because he was using like a kayak paddle, so it had blades on both sides. And then obviously I can only really go on one side with that paddle. So the idea for him was to kind of steer, and I would just like go ham, just like keep going. But at the start, like we just kept going off this way. And yeah, it was pretty hard. And it just, and seeing like all the other boats just passing us. And then, but then like we got into the swing of things after a while. But I think we were all expecting, and not just our boat, but everyone was expecting it to be a very leisurely experience. After like a month of walking, we'd all just get to sit down and cruise through the river. But it was actually hard work for everyone. The river levels were quite low, and so there was like not as much flow in it, and you had to do a lot more paddling. And in the end, the rapids were like the best thing ever, because they were like the times you'd get a bit of free momentum. So we were actually like, more rapids.
And was it, did you stop by on the side of the river to camp and sleep and everything? That was the, and there were like designed places to do
Yeah.
so. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. The Wanganui is part of one of New Zealand's Great Walks as well. So they're like really facilitated campsites throughout, and you have to book all them before you even start your river trip. So yeah, like we knew each day how far we needed to go, and I can't actually really remember. Like, what's divided through 150?
Sure.
I can't remember. But we, yes, so like we knew how far we needed to go each day, and but they were full days, like yeah. And then the hardest part about canoeing is that it doesn't stop once you get to your destination. Then you have to haul up all your gear from the boat to the campsite. It's a lot of work. And then tie them all down. And the worst thing about it is as well that all the feckin' sandflies will be around you at the boat. Like, they're just pests. And so you're trying to like tie these things up, and then you're getting bitten, and it's like but again,
Yeah.
really good time. I do love
Yeah.
it all in hindsight.
And tell me, so it took you, what was it, 4.5 months, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is like core probably walking time. I guess it took a bit longer because I got injured yeah, just at the end of the Richmond Ranges. Actually, it's kind of ironic because I was saying how that section is like, got this fear around it that it's like the most dangerous. And we had gone through, and we were literally coming down this gravel road, like down into Saint Bernard. And I was setting up my camera to take a timer photo of me and my friends. So I put the camera up, and then I was running into the photo, and there's just kind of like loose bouldery ground, and just like completely rolled on my ankle. And I heard it, like, when you just hear it. So yeah, so that kind of took me out then for a little while. I feel like all in all though, I was super lucky with how that went, because I took about like 2 weeks of pure rest. They're called trail angels. They're kind of people that, like, just normal people that support walkers on the TA. And so I had messaged one of them, and I said like what had happened, and I stayed with them for about 2 weeks. And I was just doing like a little bit of exercise, like just trying to strengthen it after about a week, but pretty much taking it easy. and then started kind of gradually building it back up. And yeah, and then I kind of tested myself out on the Abel Tasman, which is one of the another great walk in New Zealand. It's super beautiful, but it's like fairly level track and it's very well maintained. So I was like, I'll just start off on that again, and if that goes well, then I'll go back into the mountains, because everything else from here on was like mountainous kind of environment. So I didn't want to be stupid about it either and like go back out way too quickly and like, really
Yeah,
start
and
injuring
risking
myself.
way more
Or
than necessary. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's how that went.
And tell me,
Um,
after 4.5 months, like that's that's a long time, and that changes people. So was Ellie that finished the trail the same Ellie that started?
there's a really nice saying, and it's like, an elastic band once stretched never returns to the same elasticity. And I do think that's the same with your mind, like once you have a new experience, you're never the same from it. Um and I guess like, yeah, I was a bit changed, but I guess I only notice it the most when like you go back home and you go back to your kind of normal life and doing what you were doing beforehand, and then you're just like, oh, this is all a bit weird. Yeah, so like the differences are probably just like the pace of living. That's something that I just like can't that I really grapple with a lot in my day to day now, because I'm still working full time in the job that I had before I left as well. And so, yeah, I'm just like, wow, I do not ever get to spend enough time
Mm.
outside, like that is, yeah, a challenge. But I guess like to reflect on other things that I just kind of learned from doing the trail was, oh, they're gonna disappear from me now. Oh yeah, just that like a lot of times things just work out. And like, you'd hear people say this a lot and you're like, and it doesn't give you a lot of confidence. But when you actually go and do a journey and a trip and you get that experience for yourself, you start to understand it. Like things just always worked out. We did a lot of hitchhiking as well through the trail, just from getting around and getting to the shops and stuff. And like no matter how long you kind of are waiting, and then you might start to give up, and you're like, oh well, this is a terrible spot, and then someone will just pick you up, and it just works out. And um, yeah, and then there was another funny scenario where, like, just before Wanaka, me and my friend Anna, we were staying in a hut and there was a hunter there as well. And so we were just chatting to them one morning because we heard about this infamous experience of like TA hikers getting a heli ride with a hunter, and we were like, oh. And so then when we were in the hut, we were like, oh, how are you getting out there now this morning? And he was like, oh, I've got a heli coming in to collect us, or collect me. He was just one guy. And we were like, oh, really? Is there like space in that heli?
Chancers.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, well, actually, it is just coming to collect me. So, yeah, maybe there might be. And yeah, and then we were like caught in this limbo of like, oh, do we wait for the heli to come, potentially like not get a ride, and then have started the day really late, like, 11 or 12, to do all of our days walking to the next hut? But we're risk takers and we waited. So the heli came and the hunter had a little quick chat with him, and we were just standing there like waving, and he took us and we got a ride into Wanaka then on a heli, which was so fun. But that's another thing as well. I really, it was so exciting because you honestly like didn't know what would happen each day. Like every day was its own little story and it had its own arc and plot of what would happen, and you genuinely just be like, what's going to happen today? And for better or for worse, you know, some days that means you're rolling your ankle and now you have to like recalibrate the whole next month or whatever. And other days it's just like getting a heli ride or seeing an eagle, or, you know, like it can just be anything. It just feels like there's so many
And it
gifts.
is beautiful because for that time, and I think that's what I miss myself as well, is when you're out there doing an adventure like that, your world comes down to how long you're going to walk, what you're going to eat, do you have enough water, what's the
Yeah.
weather like, and the people around you. You're literally, your world is,
Yeah.
it's such a simple life. You don't worry about paying bills, about
Mm.
anything else. All you're thinking about is the basics, and it is so beautiful.
Mm.
It is just such a beautiful life, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And like when you're experiencing things like that, you're like, how did I ever get stressed about, you know, sending emails or like my to-do list? Like, geez, you know, how? And then you come back and you kind of slip back into this. And they're like, oh, it's not that easy. You know, you can't be on trail all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
And
balance.
tell me,
Yeah.
what did you learn about human nature as well when you were out there?
What did I learn? Like kind of through observing
And
other
from the
people or
interactions
just
that
kind of
that you had
living?
with people on the trail.
Hmm. You've caught me here. I need to think about this one. And like the what springs to mind was that like what I kind of realized about myself was that I was like being more patient than I usually was. But like with people are just such good crack, you know, like it's so nice sharing those times with everyone else. Like it would just be a completely different experience if you actually were like solo. Whereas we kind of had a little group of maybe, oh, how many was there? Maybe like 6 of us. For about 2 weeks, we walked together. And then kind of like I did probably like a month with Ryan, and then I did a month or so with Anna, something. No, okay, that doesn't add up. But
Period.
but basically, I did do most of the trail with like people that I'd met. I did the whole trail with people that I'd met like literally on day one, and yeah, and I like you just form really good relationships with each other. And you really get to understand like who they are. It's such a special it is such a special connection. Like that sounds so cringe, but it's so rare that you actually get that quality time with someone otherwise, you know, because we're spending like pretty much the whole day, like we're in a partnership basically. And that's something that I really enjoy is like, yeah, whether it's like with friends or with someone maybe like romantically, like it's so nice to just kind of like go through it together, and rely on each other and plan together. It really does share the load of life in a way. Yeah, but like, oh, I couldn't really honestly tell you what I think I learned like about
Mhm.
other people. It's probably like more my experience of like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of us together.
And at the end of the day, we are such social creatures, aren't we? And we do thrive
Yeah,
in that, in being with other people and helping one another uh, get stuff.
yeah,
Mm, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And because like early on, like usually I'd be like quite stubborn with like ideas that I want to do and like being almost independent. But with this, I was like, oh, I just want to be with people. And like very early on, there was this gorge walk, which I kind of like. If I go back to New Zealand, I'm probably going to try go up and do that gorge walk because it does seem really cool. But the group I was with weren't doing that. I can't actually remember why now, but yeah, it was just like my little group weren't going. And I was like, oh, do I leave them and go and do that? Or do I just accept, like, not this time, but I appreciate what I have and just like keep moving with them? And so that's what I did. And yeah, that was kind of like new for me as well. To just be like, just gonna enjoy what I have and not be like, I don't know, gunning with ambition all the time to just like have your own, yeah, experience
And
maybe. I don't know. It's like, yeah.
did walking with other people and being part of like, a decision making kind of for a group, was that part of the reason why you decided to start your mountain leader award? Did that kind of add to it, or was mountain leader something that you always wanted to do, or maybe not?
Yeah, the mountain leader is funny. I couldn't tell you exactly like what my intention is and how I want to use the award yet. But while I was walking in New Zealand on the TA, I did really appreciate like how well people come connected through walking. Yeah, walking and just sharing time outside, I guess. And I thought, like, I saw it, I guess, as a very holistic and like therapeutic experience as well. Like, because you end up just talking about all these, core memories or maybe like sort of traumatic experiences or whatever. And they just kind of tease themselves out. And then, but when you're in motion and you're like going towards something, it's like they just come out and then float away. And it doesn't feel like you get so caught up in all these things. And I just was like, oh, I'd love to be able to share that with people because I think it's just so natural in a way as well. So maybe like that's probably more like the route that I imagine myself going with the mountain leader award at some period. Like I don't really have like a full path forward on how I imagine that working out, but yeah, just probably being able to kind of capture the essence of all those lovely things about being on a long distance trail and then like facilitating that experience probably in potentially shorter periods or yeah, I don't know, maybe week long things. I don't know. But yeah,
And how do
that's the
you
idea.
find the Irish mountaineering world? So you've started working with Mountaineering Ireland now, is it as an ambassador, or do you have some more roles within the structure?
Yeah, I'm an ambassador. So just kind of a friend of MI is how
Hmm.
to put it
Hmm.
simply.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So
what
how
was
do you
your question?
find
Like how?
um how do you find the mount not mountaineering, the Irish mountain community? Do you find it very inclusive? And how is it for you? How is your experience with the Irish hiking community? That's better than mountaineering, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I to be honest, like I feel as though I'm not probably as like stuck in and like in the middle of it as other people are. Like, but anyone that I meet is really sound, like I don't think there's been any difficulties or yeah. I'm trying to think about that now.
Well, if you don't think about any difficulties, that means that it's absolutely amazing. It's just Because if there were
Yeah,
difficulties, they
yeah.
would probably
Yeah,
come
like
up to your mind straight away, and you'd be like, well, actually, there is an access problem or something like that. But there,
oh, yeah. Okay, well, now that you mention it. Well, no, maybe we might be thinking about different accesses, but like I guess what I got struck by when I came home and kind of saw Ireland maybe a little bit differently was just like the walking scene, I guess, in Ireland, and like how people are maybe like not engaging with it, or it's it feels a bit like mismatched, between like because we don't have trails in the uplands, and but we do have like like a body of national trails through the waymarked trails, and there are some pilgrim paths as well. So like yeah, the infrastructure, I guess, is what I'm saying around walking is like, I don't know, sometimes does it like a little bit frustrate me because I feel as though it's like misunderstood, but then also like for a lot of people who just want to go out and summit Carrantoul or summit the mount, like, a major mountain in a range, that is like, it's not very accessible to them because you have to understand, maybe map reading. And then if you don't want to be like that advanced in all the skills around it, like you just want to kind of have an experience in the mountains, that it's kind of hard to do that, like, yeah, safely, I guess, in a way. And like if you're just trying to do that as a beginner friendly exercise and you're using your phone as navigation, like there's a fair bit of criticism that kind of comes within certain parts of the community about doing that. So yeah, I kind of empathize with like the average Joe who just wants to go out into the mountains, because just with the way like land access is in Ireland, and then that makes it a bit harder. But yeah, I would kind of love to see some trails and just like have a bit more of a harmonious structure to it as well, because it wasn't until I made a post about like Ireland's trail network, honestly, to just try figure it out myself. And like it's it's hard to understand. There are so many little pockets of areas with trails here, and it's like it nearly feels like they're secrets. Like, you'd have to be really local to the area to actually know that, oh yeah, there's a loop walk around there,
you
or,
have to ask
and,
Farmer Joe to,
no,
cross his gate to get to the start of the hike or something.
yeah, yeah, like you don't know whether like, oh, can I actually be here, and like is it okay? And so just like, yeah, when you have that doubt, then it's not at the end of the day the experience you want. Like you just, yeah, don't want to be a burden on someone's land either. But there was a couple of things that I kind of reduced it down to. Like, there is a resource called Get Ireland Active, which is a website, and you can kind of filter it out for different sports, and it's really trying to be a tool to like figure out any interest you have, where you could do that. So it's like even clubs and tennis courts and all that. But you can filter it for walking trails, and then it'll show you like only the marked trails in Ireland. So I did actually think that that was useful. It's a little bit janky, like it's not the most easy to use tool, but I do actually reference it quite often to just see like, okay, is there any marked trails in the area? And then obviously you have apps like, Komoot, Hiker, Outdoor Active, like all those ones, and there'd be trail suggestions on them. But this brings up the issue where GPX routes are not exactly marked trails,
Yeah.
and And so then that's where again I feel like, oh, the poor average Joe, downloads this app, has been told like there's loads of routes on it and trails. And when you hear trail, like you do think it's a facilitated route. And so then you'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll go do that. And then there's
You
just
and
nothing,
you find yourself in the
Um,
middle of a bog and you don't know where to go.
yeah, yeah. So I do think like there are some barriers for people accessing a certain type of like yeah experience in the
Hmm.
outdoors
Hmm.
here. Because in New Zealand, like there's just like you download the NZ Topo app, which you pay about like €2. You own the app. It's not even a subscription. And then it shows you every single trail that's in North and South Island. It'll show you all the huts that are available. It's just so easy in some ways. Like, yeah, but like, yeah, it's kind of highlighting like the things that we do have. Like, we do have a whole network of waymarked trails. But then, even like people sometimes often don't even realize like those black and yellow signposts, those are the waymarked trail signposts. And to know as well that they're always usually linear routes. Because again, for the average Joe, they see a signpost and be like, oh, there's a trail here. Like, I'll just follow that. And then be like, when is this going to take me back to my car? And it won't.
Yeah. But Ireland is
Yeah,
so
so
much different
there's
in
like,
that in the mountains, because like me coming from Poland, mountaineering in Poland is hundreds of years old. Like we've always done it. So the trails are
yeah,
trails. So if you go to Poland, you will find
yeah,
well-maintained trails. They're always marked, and there is a grade black, red, green, blue, and yellow, I think. Black being the hardest. And every child in Poland learns in school that black and red are the
oh,
most difficult trails, and then to follow the easier
yeah,
ones. And so I remember when I first came to Ireland, sorry, and I landed in the Midlands. So I had my Schlievblum Mountains. I was like, yeah, I have mountains on my
oh yeah,
doorsteps. They're not really mountains, but but I
yeah,
remember going out, and
yeah.
I love getting lost. So I'd just go follow a trail, get lost, and then find my way back. And I remember there was nothing. There was not one trail marked. There was the Schlievblum Way. So only the yellow man, that was the only
Yeah,
marker that was on. But that was it.
yeah,
But in the last few years, it all changed so much. There's so many more marked trails, and there are being a little bit more maintained as well, which is so good to see, because it does,
mm,
as you say, it brings the average Joe out, and they
yeah,
know, okay, at least I can follow this trail, because there might also be a sign at the car park saying, oh, if you follow this, you're gonna get there. So it's actually, it's great. But I think what's magical about Irish mountains is that wilderness, is the fact that
yeah,
some mountain ranges are only for the people who actually can have the skills, and because
mm,
they are dangerous, it kind of, well, hopefully keeps the people who don't have the skills out of them, so they're not risking too much. And I'm not saying I'm all about inclusivity, and
mm,
I would love people to be out there, but I also think that people who don't have the skills should get the skills first before they go out there and
mm.
and go and do 12 bends, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, like there's a lot of factors, I guess, to consider. Like even just hearing about how you guys in Poland get that really grassroots education about just the colors, and then you have like this peripheral awareness of how this thing works, and that there's something to learn. Whereas like Yeah, because my mom is in mountain rescue, I do hear so many of the stories of just like, people even going up, yeah, using Google Maps to try get to a summit. And as well, like in the dark, because like for sunrise or something. And so, like, I often just be puzzling and pondering, like, what does that person need? Because I want you to have a sunrise on the mountain because it's like feckin'
Yeah,
spiritual, like,
yeah,
it's good for you. But yeah, there is like, oh, well, you still gotta know that, like, you need to put on proper shoes and, like, you need to know that, like, you have to have a jacket and waterproof so you don't get hypothermic and, like, just these other things that feed into the experience, not just there being the infrastructure there, like you also have to know what you need before you leave the house and like how to actually do that in a responsible way. And considering as well, like just meeting where we're at in Ireland, like that land access is something that you need to consider and that you are walking on privately owned land usually and being respectful of that because like those relationships are really important. And if we jeopardize them, like we do potentially put access at risk. And then like
yeah,
everyone loses
yeah,
out. So, like, I would like for the general public, to understand that concept. Like, even if we don't like love that this is all privately owned, like we still have to respect how this is
yeah,
currently functioning. And yeah, so because like this a similar thing with like just bringing dogs on the mountain, like that's probably one of the quickest ways to really threaten those relationships because a lot of that ground is
yeah,
used for farming. And so around lambing season and just any time like you are if you're bringing dogs on the mountain, it's it's not okay with the farmers
and you have to
and
respect
yeah.
that. If you
So
want to be back there, you have to respect that. Yeah. Mm.
yeah, but it's like some people genuinely didn't even know that. Like the more I talk about it, more people are like, oh, geez, really? I didn't realize. So it's like,
Education. It's all
yeah,
education.
there's,
There is. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And maybe it should be happening like at a much earlier age, like in the
Hmm.
schools as well.
The basics,
Um,
and maybe it is the
yeah,
time to start that at that level because I'd say the outdoors in Ireland is only growing. People are
yeah,
heading out more and more kids are also more into the outdoors, so maybe it is something to implement in schools and start giving people
yeah,
the basics kind
yeah,
of do.
yeah. Yeah, because I know Mountaineering Ireland are running courses. Like they have some really nice things they're doing with schools. Like the Summit Sisters program it's encouraging young girls to just like enjoy the outdoors. It's not even about like, oh, you got to like summit all these peaks and stuff. It's actually really nice in that they go out and they go for walks in like some of the parks or woodlands and they usually bring someone more like an artistic side into it as well, and they do like nature photography or painting and just showing like how to appreciate different spaces, I guess, and how to have different experiences in the same place as well. But yeah, maybe just accompanying that with like a small bit of education to understand like how the whole system ties
Exactly.
together
Exactly.
will be
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, I have a few questions that I have in my mind and I need to blend them in. One of the questions is, no, I'll keep that for later. First one is,
Ooh, the suspense.
dum, 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 dum. Tell me, are there any women in the outdoors that are inspirational, that are inspiration for you? Do you get inspired from any of the women that are out there doing things? You can name them.
Hmm. Then I'll have to name them all. um, well, I guess like we were chatting as well, but like Sinead Pollock is a really positive like leader, I guess, in the outdoor community. And like I've been fortunate to do, and we both did our mountain leader training with Sinead, and I was just saying like how she is so calm and so confident in what she does, and I find that to be really inspiring. And yeah, and like we were chatting about it actually on one of our training sessions about just like trusting yourself, and that has been like actually a whole separate thing that I've been thinking about recently. But I guess like thinking about like what other people are doing and what I want to do. This is probably a bit disappointing that I actually like can't think.
Well, I put you on the spot, so it's like you probably have faces like in your mind without names, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, or just a general like all collectively, I see loads of people are doing things and it's just like cool. You know, even within one of the mountain leader chats, like they'd be putting in things what people are up to. And someone just did a big long run there recently and probably really summarizing that. But it's just like, it's just this collective momentum of energy of just like people are getting out there and people are doing things. And I was like, right now, I think I'm probably generating more energy towards doing things on my bike. And so I guess like I'm probably thinking more about like sources for that. And yeah, that's probably where my head is at, to be honest. But I like to be a doting daughter. I guess my mom is also always like a real inspiration of an awesome lady. Just like she's so sweet and so lovely, and then such a badass as well, like for everything that she does. So,
Oh,
yeah,
it's so
just
lovely to
have a.
hear. It's so lovely to hear that, you you have your mom as this badass, It's just it's yeah, you have inspiration in your everyday life,
Yeah.
this woman showing you how to do stuff and being your like, oh, yes, I'm so happy to have you as my mom.
Yeah, yeah, like genuinely, it's so cool. And like we've done a fair few bits together as well, like be it walking or biking trips. And I guess like it's a nice little token to just store away for the future of like, she's not as young as me, but she's doing so much at her age, and I'm just like, whoa, so like this can be done for quite a while, like we're quite a few years apart, but like we're doing the same thing. And I find that really inspiring of just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
seeing that. And even on the TA as well, like there was actually a fair handful of people of like older age just doing their trips too. So I just think that's really cool and that's
yeah,
pretty inspiring.
yeah. And tell
Yeah.
me, you mentioned biking a few times, and I think for me, that's an absolute, like, that's absolute badass that you do mountain biking. And I want to, that's when we were talking about the prosthetic. Could you show us the prosthetic that you're using? And can you tell me more about the mountain biking adventure for you?
Yeah, okay, so this is the prosthetic that I'm currently using. And like, yeah, it's kind of an area for this year that I'm trying to just upgrade things a little bit and make some changes so that like, yeah, for the next adventure, I'm like sweet and I'm set up well. Um, but yeah, one of those things is like just comfort issue. Like this goes on to my arm like this, but there's just parts of the shape here that kind of get uncomfortable after a while. And yeah, I want to do some kind of like, let's call it, I guess it's kind of like gravel type of riding. But yeah, so I kind of want to do that long distance. There's some ideas that I have about that. Like I'd love to go coast to coast through the Pyrenees. Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, it's like I don't want to like share all my things because it's like, oh, I don't want to be all talk, and don't do it. I like to be able to say this is what I've done. But yeah, I guess that's kind of where my intention is at with the prosthetic now, is like getting something that I can use for long distance, almost kind of like touring off-road riding, and see how that goes. But yeah, like the mountain biking side of my adventure suite is yeah, it's an always growing journey. I don't know how much you want to dive into that, but you can
How,
let me know.
like, I just wanted to know, because for me, obviously, like, because I'm scared of cycling. I had an accident where, like,
Oh.
20 years ago, where I face planted on concrete. And since then, I'm not really confident on a bike. Like, I can go and cycle a little bit, but I tried mountain biking over here in France once, and I just got off the bike and walked next to it. I said, no, this is too sketchy. I do not like this. I'm done. No, thank you. So for me, it's just absolutely incredible that you jump on the bike and you do it. So how did, like, when you started, where did you have that did you have fear, or no, you just went, yeah, I love the adrenaline?
It's probably good that like I started when I did, because maybe I was a bit more innocent. But I just I really thought it was so cool and I just wanted to do it. But like I got hurt so often, and so like it really wasn't, it was questionable whether it was enjoyable for the first at least year of doing it. Like I was just so beat up all the time, just bruised, and I kind of bruise easily, so I was just like covered. But then part of me was like, oh, this is really cool, like I'm really doing it. But I'm glad that I've gone through that stage now, because yeah, it was a bit rough. But was I scared or like, like I do think it really depends on what trails you're riding. Because if I were to just go out and ride some of the black trails in the Gap or something, I'd probably be like, this is terrible, I don't like it anymore. And that was a learning curve as well when I started too, because we have a limited amount of like places to go, and so if you don't want to be traveling quite far all the time, you do end up riding a lot more of the enduro type tracks, which are like quite natural and like basically just like beating trails into the ground from people riding them. They're not like when you go to Ballyhowrah and it's like a little gravel path through the trees. So enduro is just a different category of riding, and it's rooty, it's rocky, it's very natural, a bit more technical. And like at the start though, you didn't really know. You're just like, this is what mountain biking is. So if I don't like this, I don't like mountain biking. And then I started riding just more trail center stuff of like flowy and just less technical, I guess. And I just way preferred it. So then I was having a much better time. And less scared, because yeah, for sure I was scared a fair bit. But again, for some reason, I was just like, no, I just really love mountain biking, so I gotta do this. Yeah, I don't know. I had a real like funny attachment with the sport. I definitely didn't want to let it go, but it really did challenge me for a while. Yeah. But like, yeah, then you go overseas biking and it is different. Like, especially if you were riding in the Alps there, like they have a lot more elevation to play with. And so like inherently it just makes trails a bit steeper and everything gets a bit bigger. Like even just riding berms in the Alps, they're like, super tall and high, and it's like, whoa, this is a bit crazy. But then you get used to that too, and like just kind of, yeah, getting comfortable with a bit of speed and momentum. I think that does
Mhm.
put people off, like, because the trail literally will have its own energy and you're either going with it or you're crying. And so, like, yeah, choosing the right level for you is the most important thing to have, like, your perception then of the sport and the experience. Yeah, and that's kind of
Yeah,
true for
yeah,
most things, like,
yeah. I love
yeah.
how you just go for things. I just love how you are so enthusiastic about everything, and nothing's gonna stop you. It's just it really is inspiring. It really is, because you're a young woman who is out there putting herself out there and doing all these things no matter what. And it's just, I think yeah, it can show other people that they can do things. They can do hard things. And just to finish this conversation, I have this thing where I always ask, the last question is, what would you say to a person who is thinking of starting something, but they're really not sure? They're wondering, oh, will I be able for it? Oh, maybe it's not my place. What would you tell them?
I think it would be as simple as just the things that I would tell myself, which is have the courage to try. Like, don't expect yourself to muster up all this confidence and like self-esteem and then start. Like, that will come once you do the thing, or at least give yourself that exposure of it. Whereas the energy that you want to build first is to just find the courage to do it. Because yeah, otherwise you'll never like take the next step, because if you're just focusing on like feeling confident and like, yeah, having all this self-belief kind of thing, it's like that'll probably that's what the reward of taking action is. It doesn't precede it. And yeah, and then to follow up on that, it's just like, yeah, it's as simple as that. You just gotta do it. Like any other pursuit of like advice is just probably procrastination after a certain point. Like, I think you have to be honest with yourself then of like, okay, yeah, no, like I could take the next step right now if I'm being honest with myself. Like, I have enough information. I have the tool I need or the access to it. And then it's just a matter of like scheduling it in your calendar of like, this is when I'm going to do it. Like, get intentional. And like maybe start changing your language as well. Like how I was saying, when I watched that video of the TA, I was like, this is awesome. I'd love to do this. Like, taking it from like, I'd love to like, I'm gonna do this. And then hearing yourself being like, okay. And it might feel frightening, but yeah, those are kind of like the bits of ingredients to then take the next step. And like, if, yeah, taking the next step might just be like getting the backpack or like booking the course, or like they can be small steps as well, but just as long as you're like making forward momentum, that, yeah. And then like take stock of that too, be like, oh, I'm doing this. And yeah, hopefully that works.
Find out, but at least you tried.
And like I wouldn't expect to then give the impression, yeah, I wouldn't want to give the impression that that somehow is all very easy, because like currently I'm also trying to like muster up the courage to do some things and make some changes, and like, but at least once you do it the first time, you have confidence of like, okay, I did this before and things actually worked out, and maybe they didn't, but I can still try. And
So what
yeah,
is your next
so
thing that you're thinking about?
it's a, well, I guess it's just like I have to refer to my whiteboard here because I'm like, yeah, I guess some of it is, yeah, just playing around with different kind of creative projects, I guess, as well. And like, yeah, I usually always kind of document my trips, and with New Zealand, I feel like I haven't captured it and like put it in its little piece of art, whether that's like a video or a blog or something. So I want to, yeah, get that, and that might take quite a while. And otherwise, I will be probably working on some mountain bike promotional stuff as well. So that'll be interesting. And then I guess just like working towards the off-roading kind of touring mountain biking style thing. And there's just a couple of places that I want to go with that. But yeah, yeah, just like there's a few things I do need to figure out, like the prosthetics and yeah, and just time and
But
things. But
that
yeah, I
whiteboard
think it
looks
definitely.
like, well, I don't know how it looks, but it feels like the whiteboard is filled with stuff.
Yeah, it is. But that's what keeps me going with some momentum, that like on each thing I'm working on, I just write like what's the next step next to it that I have to take. And then I do that, and then I populate it again. So it's just like keep moving the needle forward, and eventually then like when time is right, or you just get your project
Mhm.
done that way as well. But yeah, I guess to summarize is like something's coming on the bike. Like maybe I'm not even 100% sure yet, but like something's gonna happen on the bike.
I can't wait to see it, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen because I'm sure it's going to be super fun and really exciting. Thank you for giving us your time and having the chats with me. It was a pleasure, and I knew it would be. Yeah, thank you,
That
Ellie, and I hope to chat to you soon again.
was so much fun. I loved it. Thank you so much.